I am ready now. I am ready now. I am ready. I am ready.
Hey yo, here we go. Now, let's get into the episode. Because this, like I said, it's all about drugs and its influence and its culture in hip-hop. Obviously, it's a world culture, but, you know, in hip-hop, it's always been around. But in old school, it was more, the vices were more weed, you know, cigarettes, cigars, alcohol. That's heavy in hip-hop culture. And it's obviously not a positive thing, those things. You know, obviously some people argue weed is a natural thing, so that's not so bad. But in these days, in the new school of hip-hop, I should say, you know, they got a new bunch of drugs that are a lot more lethal, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion. They got the Xanax, the lean, the Molly, Percocet, you know, all these drugs. And what we're seeing a lot in hip-hop, in comparison of back in the day, is that a lot of rappers are dying from these drugs. You know, you got people like Chance the Rapper on Xanax and Lil Wayne and all the young bunch, you know, and it's cost a few lives. You know, DMX recently died. Apparently was a crack overdose, but you know, there's a lot of rumors that it wasn't drugs, but I heard it was. That's the main word out there, that it was due to his crack addiction he's had since the 80s. Then you had Lil Peep. He died a few years ago from Xanax overdose. Mac Miller died. I can't recall what job he died of, but he died a few years ago from his drug use. Chris Kelly from Criss Cross. He had a coke and heroin habit. He died a few years ago as well. And Pimp C died from drinking that southern drug, the lean. That stuff Lil Wayne's on. And yeah, it's a big problem, I think, in hip hop, because we're seeing the more that people are dying from this stuff, and they're taking stronger drugs than it was back in the day. But it is obviously a society thing. It's not just a hip hop thing. And you got to tackle the real main issue, really, because you got people that are probably suffering from stuff that they've, you know, trauma from the past, and that's what they use. We all use some sort of vice. Some people use drugs, some people use alcohol, weed, cigarettes. You know, there's a lot of things that people use to get rid of the stress in their life. Drugs definitely ain't a thing. I've always been quite anti-drugs, but yeah, hip-hop is just part of the culture, unfortunately. You know, little people like Future with songs like was that Molly Percocet song. You got Snoop, always a big advocate on weed. Redman, Method Man, proper hip-hop weed heads. Be Real, Cypress Hill. Chance the Rapper had an issue with Xanax, like I said earlier. We all know Wayne's had issues with lean. He had a few seizures. That's what lean does to you. It brings on some crazy seizures. Like, people don't know about that. If you're susceptible to seizures, lean will provoke that in your system. Then, you know, you got Flavor Flav. Yeah, there's been a few people that have got off the drugs. Flavor Flav had a crack habit in the 80s. You had Gucci Mane. He had an issue with. He was on that lean stuff as well, I think, and pills. But he got off that. He went to jail, and they basically kicked the habit based on him being in jail. So when he came out, he was clean, cold turkey, and he's stayed fit, stayed away from drugs, and keeps like a gym habit. Vanilla Ice had a drug habit after his fame went down in the early 90s, and he was on what was that drug? He was on heroin and coke. But now he turned his life around. He's doing, like, he's flipping houses apparently. That's his way of making money, and he's got like a TV show apparently too. And then Kid Cudi had an issue with alcohol and what was that drug? I think he was on coke. Yeah, alcohol and cocaine. But he said he just, he just woke up one day and just thought, you know what, I gotta kick this habit for my kids and for myself, and he did it. I think he got arrested as well one day. I think the shame of getting arrested with coke as well kind of woke him up.